right up into the shallows. You can tell by the... Yeah, look at that. Huge flathead. Season that. Oh. Be right. G'day, my name is Luke and this is my wife Jen. And here are our two growing boys, Liam and Elliot. We've been fishing, boating and exploring the pristine waters of the Fraser Coast for about 10 years now. So subscribe and come join the adventure. Righto folks, another message through Facebook. We love getting messages through Facebook and Instagram folks, so please keep sending them through. This message is from Glenn, so I'll read it out to you. Hi Luke, an interesting read, thought you may appreciate it. I opened the article thinking it would be singing the praises of the electric motor. Uh-oh, we're about to start bashing the old terror. I am working out my boat budget and am caught between a used boat that has all the fruit, including a bow mount, or buying a new boat, getting the hull that I want and know, customizing the layout, getting the outboard that I trust, the sounder of my choice, and build on it as I save. Not enough in the kitty at this stage for an electric motor, so I was doing a bit of research and came across this article. Tight lines. Thanks, Glenn. So let's have a look at this article. Okay, it's by Fishing World, December 2010 edition. Well, it actually says December 2010, but then it's got /1 June 2011. So I'm not quite sure. It's one of those dates. And it's by David Green. All right, so always worth listening to Greenie because he's got a few good tips now and again. According to David Green, limiting the noise your boat transmit into the water can greatly improve your catch. Completely agree, mate. Skinny water, spooky fish. In shallow water, an electric motor will definitely spook fish. Really? Will it? I think we're going to have to test this. We're going to have to read this and then we're going to have to do a bit of a test to see if Greenie's off his tree or if he knows what he's talking about. Whew. G'day folks. Another beautiful day here on the Fraser Coast. Well, it's actually very cold. We've got a southerly breeze blowing. It's freezing. But I guess by southern standards it's probably a little bit warm. I think it's only about 17 degrees or something. It's ridiculous. Anyway. Meat dinner. Dinner tonight. I've come right up into the shallows. You can tell by the colour of the water behind me. I'm right up. I'm actually anchored. I've got the anchor deployed. I came up here this morning really early when the tide was further in. Found a nice little hole, parked myself in it, put the anchor out. The tide has gone all the way out. I've been sitting here for a couple of hours waiting and now the tide's pushing back in and these guys are on the chew, they're coming in. So I'm going to try and get a few more of them for you, show you the footage. I'm going to do it on a range of lures and we'll see how we go. But this one's dinner, so it's always good to get the first one in the box. Righto folks, so as I mentioned, I came in here very early this morning. The tide was about halfway out. I've sat here, put the anchor out and sat here for the tide change. Now the tide is pushing back up. So you can see this is fresh water. You can see this is the edge of the fresh and salt. And I caught that fish just as the edge got to me basically. I came in here yesterday and I was a bit late. I came in a few hours after low tide and I spooked some really good fish. I dropped a really good fish, which I'm still upset about. But I spooked quite a lot of fish on my way in here yesterday because the water's so clear. We've had lots of rain last weekend. Usually what that does is it gets the estuary pumping. All the creeks and drains off of Fraser really start pumping. All that frothy stuff on the lure. And what I find is it's a really good time to fish the creeks and drain mouths because you've got lots of nutrients and stuff pushing out, a lot of organic matter pushing out in the creeks. And I think this is fouled. and that attracts bait who want to feed on that, and in turn that attracts some nice predators. I'm using the Vibe instead of a soft plastic or something at the moment because I'm casting into the wind, and I just find the weight of that Vibe helps me penetrate with long casts a bit better. Having said that, it seems to be picking up everything on the bottom at the moment. Oh. So that's not very good because I need a clean retrieve. Another shell. What's going on, Luke? What's that, 4 or 5 casts that's just gone to clag? You might recognise this from a video of mine ages ago. It's a homemade paddle tail. Still make the occasional soft plastic, not that many. What is that? That looks like a very big... Oh! Yep, look at that! Huge flathead! Oh, that was pretty cool. Oh, wow. Big flathead. Right where I dropped it yesterday. I hope this one decides to stay on. So coming right up onto this gravel. Oh, pulling. I've only got a 10-pound leader, so I really got to be careful, and I've got the anchor down so I can't chase it. That was very cool though, being able to see it drop the lure right in front of its nose. Now yesterday I had a very nice fish like this. Come right up to the boat and then just spat the lure, and it did my head in. So today, oh, get out of there. Today I'm not taking any risks. I'm going to go a little harder, not too much. Staying low so it's not bringing its head up. Good sized fish. Every time it comes close to the boat though, it's going to run out of puff. Sees the net. Big head shakes. Oh, I saw the net. There it is, everybody can see it. Nice flathead. Oop. You're done. There we go. Oh, look at that, ladies and gents. Oh, that was, oh, and the lure just popped out. Oh, just popped out. Oh, settle. Big, fat, healthy fish. Real healthy. Real big. I don't want to lift you too much on your neck. "70 centimeters. Oh, nice big 70 centimeter fish. Okay, it's time to go home. I think it's going to be a bit of a, bumpy ride. Righto folks, so what is the verdict? Day 1, 2 hours before low tide, arrived at the creek mouth, deployed the electric motor and used it to move in behind that tide line, so the fresh and salt water line. As it moved into the creek, I was just behind it, casting ahead of myself. I went over about 7 fish, spooked them all, got really frustrated. Day 2, went to the exact same location, but I was 2 hours before low tide. Reason for that, I used the main motor to get me into where I noticed the majority of the fish were. I deployed the anchor and then I sat there, switched everything else off and just waited. Tide went out, tide came in, as that fresh and saltwater line came towards the boat, that's when I got the first fish, and shortly after, that big girl swam practically up to the boat. Did eliminating the use of this make the difference between day 1 and day 2? Yes, it did. Does this mean that these things are useless in the shallows? No, it doesn't. Is that what Greeny's saying in his article? No, he's not. What I took away from Greeny's article was a couple of things. Noise and vibration clearly has an influence on fish's behaviour. Can spook them in certain situations, may not spook them in others. The other thing, this is simply a luxury, nice to have option that we have available as modern fishers. It's another piece of kit to add to our tackle box, just like all the different lures that we have available to us now, all in different colours, profiles, they all make different sounds and vibrations, all the rods and reels, all the electronics packages. There is so much out there for us to use now. However, they are all just bits of kit that we need to apply and not apply in certain scenarios. I applied the use of this on day 1 and it didn't work in my favour. Day 2, I eliminated the use of it and went old school using the anchor, and it worked really, really well. That's what I took away from this whole test. Absolute statements like this is no good in the shallows, not going to say that, and that's not what the article was saying either. So huge thanks for Greeny for sharing that insight for us, sharing information, really appreciate it. And Glenn for sending me that article. Thanks, mate. I spent overnight sitting there really frustrated from day 1 to day 2 trying to nut what happened. It was just really, really frustrating. And then on day 2 managed to crack the code, and that cracking the code, I find, and I know a lot of other people do, cracking the code and landing that fish is what fishing is all about in my book. So thanks very much. I'll see you next week, folks. Have a good one. And as always, take care when you're out on the water. Cheers.